Hi everyone. So I'm sure a lot of you have noticed that I have a really particular fascination with weight and diet, and I just kind of wanted to explain why. This is a really sensitive issue, and it's really close to my heart. Um, I see a lot of people with PKU trying to lose weight, and I actually often will see that people are concerned their children are overweight as well. And I just want to kind of elaborate. When I was little, I was told I was overweight. I was always the chubbier kid, and I felt like the chubby kid. But here's the thing, I really wasn't that big. I was never like harmfully overweight. I was just thicker than my sisters and my peers. It wasn't like I was, like I said, at a high risk for health issues or anything. I was just a little bit thicker. I mean, I lived off of pasta. I was hungry. Um, So when a doctor tells you your child is overweight, I want you guys to like pump the brakes for a second and think about it. Is your kid active? Does your kid eat fairly healthy? Because if the main aspects of your child's life are like healthy and normal, I wouldn't worry about their weight, in complete honesty. Like, as an adult, I consider myself healthy, and I was told to lose weight many times as a kid, and my weight has never caused any issues with my health at all. I've never, I mean, if, like I said, if you're not like at a high risk for type 2 diabetes, or, it's not affecting you physically, it really doesn't need to be addressed. So as a child, I was told to lose weight by, a lot of different people. And the first time I think I tried to lose weight, I was in third grade. I was 7 or 8 years old. And I think I did lose a little weight. And I was 8 years old. I was a child. And people were like, "Oh, you lost weight. That's so great." Like, immediately I was praised for losing weight as an 8-year-old girl. So going forward, I was a little girl. And then when I went into the next couple years, I went into puberty. And from the age of 11 to 12, I gained like 40 pounds or so. And that was really hard for me as someone who already had a lot of comments about their weight. And yeah, when I was 12, I was a little chubby, but I had just gone through puberty. And so again, I tried to lose weight and was praised heavily for losing weight. And then the problem that arises there is when I lost the weight and was immediately heavily praised for it, I developed this strong connection to my body being something that is special about me, and that having a thinner body makes me more special. So for the next many years, I was always seeking a thinner body. And as someone with PKU, some people have a very hard time being thin. Some people don't. But I talked to my mom about this recently because if you guys have seen my posts on Instagram, you know that I'm someone who's chronically hungry. I'm always hungry. And I know that's not specific to me. I know that a lot of people with PKU struggle with being hungry all the time because we don't get to eat super satisfying foods all the time. I mean, sustenance. Formula is like the greatest filler for us. But anyway, I talked to my mom about this and I said, "What was my temperament as a baby?" And she said, "You were always hungry. You just always were hungry." I asked her if I slept super well, and she said no, which surprised me because as an adult, I sleep very well. I sleep 8 or 9 hours a night, like every single night, well. And she said no, because you were always hungry. Like the formula that I took as a baby never satisfied me like breast milk satisfied my siblings. And always being hungry, when I've been told my whole life that being thin is good, is a real problem. When you're told your whole life that, anytime you lost a noticeable amount of weight, "Wow, you look so good. That's so great. Good for you. You look great." As a little kid and as an adolescent in a changing, growing body. And then I'm always hungry. Like, that's extremely contradicting. Like, what do I do with that? was my problem. So as I came into my teenage years, obviously I had a bad relationship with food because I'd had a prior fixation on it from childhood, with not only just having PKU, which makes you focus on food 10,000 times more than anybody else, but then I also focused on what was healthy and what would help me lose weight. That became a problem because as a teenager, I just went off diet because I felt like everything I ate were things that society said were unhealthy. I lived off of pasta and carbohydrate foods, which society kept saying, low carb diet, high protein, low carb. So when I was 15 years old, I had just given up on PKU completely because it didn't satisfy my need to be thin and to be liked at all. So I started eating things like tuna fish because that's what people said was lean and healthy. And, I would drink a cup of coffee for breakfast and eat tuna fish and whatever other, I can't remember, salads, chicken breast, avocado. And that was what I ate. I ate high protein, low carb. And not only did I not lose weight, but I felt awful because I wasn't taking care of my health. So in no way did it satisfy my need for approval, for people to say, wow, you look great. I mean, even if people did mention that I had lost some weight, I barely lost any. And when people mentioned it, it was hollow because I felt like trash. I felt awful. So when I get super fired up and I start talking about why we shouldn't try to lose weight, I'm coming at it from a really emotional point, but I'm also coming at it from a point of a lot of experience. Nutrition is my life, and I've had a lifetime of experience with a fixation in nutrition and diet and weight loss and the whole culture around it. So I just want you to know that just when a kid is overweight, it doesn't mean they're going to grow up to be unhealthy. Because obesity is an epidemic in our country, our media causes us to panic about it. They want us to panic. So when someone tells you your kid is overweight, you're like, oh my gosh, it's the epidemic. My kid is overweight. She's going to grow up to be, or he or she is going to grow up to be morbidly obese and have type 2 diabetes and have, no activity in their lives and just be unhappy. And this idea that people who are overweight, first of all, have to be unhappy is baloney. People who are overweight are not automatically unhappy, unfulfilled people. It's not true. It isn't. So that's a hurtful stereotype, that fat phobic stereotype that our culture pushes so hard. But also it's super hurtful to your kid to tell them they need to lose weight, even if you're being really careful about it, even if you are trying to be positive and say, we're going to eat healthier, because that's what my parents did. Let's eat healthier. I still was praised for weight loss. That still was, to me, obviously the goal. So even though, and also, when you tell a kid to eat healthy, it makes them, oftentimes we push the idea that some foods are bad and some foods are good. I know plenty of adults who have grown up and now, because of that intense labeling of good and bad food, they feel guilty for eating a cookie or for eating chips. They think, oh, this is terrible for me. I'm going to automatically gain weight. If all you ate was cookies, you would feel like trash. If all you ate was vegetables, you probably wouldn't feel that great either. If all you ate all day, every day was carrots, you'd feel like trash. You need balance in your life. If you're craving sugar, eat sugar. Your body knows how to take care of you better than you think. But anyway, I know so many adults who are, in many, many aspects, totally normal, completely normal. It is extremely normal to think this way, to think that eating sugar, eating candy, eating dessert, or eating junk food, just that, it's called junk food. What is that? That eating all these foods will devalue them and will be harmful to them. Just if you eat a little bit of it once in a while. No, that's not how that works. I am someone who eats dessert almost every single day. and I consider myself a very healthy adult. I eat lots of fruits, lots of vegetables. I take good care of myself. I'm active. I drink tons of water. I don't over-caffeinate. I consider myself a very healthy adult. And I know when I've had too much sugar. I can feel it in myself. So that's when I say, nope, I'm not going to have any more. You just listen to your body. If you think your kid is healthy, or if you feel healthy yourself, but a scale tells you you're overweight and you need to lose weight, pump the brakes and think about it. Is your body happy where it's at? Because if it is, that's where you should stay. My body has been in a 10-pound weight range for the past 4 years, I think. And much as I've maybe wanted to push past and lose weight, and as I've gone up and down within that 10-pound weight range, I know this is where my body is supposed to be. My body is happy here. I take good care of myself. My lifestyle is balanced. So, I know that I'm taking good care of myself because of those things. So when it's a kid, first of all, they're going to gain weight more dramatically at certain points in their lives because they're growing. And even so, just because a child's overweight as a little child, it doesn't mean they're going to be severely overweight as an adult. If they have a healthy lifestyle and they eat fruits and vegetables, are incorporated into their daily routine, you shouldn't be so concerned. I know that after being praised for weight loss, I developed a really emotional attachment to food at a really early age. And I remember binge eating when I was 11. I was always hungry and there was a lot of food available. So I would just eat and eat and eat and eat until I felt full. And these are things that people go through. And I think we need to take a step back and really think about it. Is what I'm thinking about right now, is it just diet culture projecting itself into my life and into my perspectives of the world? Or is there actually cause for real concern? Our society really likes to make us think that being overweight is a problem. And I really, really feel for people who are happy and fat because they're constantly told they're not worthy. You get judgmental looks. I remember when I was a little bit bigger, when I was I weighed probably 40 pounds more than I do when I was 16, 17 years old. And I remember you feel judged all the time. And why? I wasn't unhealthy. I really wasn't. I just weighed more than I do now. I was still, going out and living my life and doing things I enjoyed. And I remember if I was eating, all eyes were on me. And if I was going and doing something physically active, all eyes were on me. If I was at the gym, that is so cruel, honestly. Just leave people alone and let them live their lives. It's none of your business. If someone is overweight, let them live. If someone is underweight, let them live their life. It's really none of your business, unless there is a real cause for concern. I feel very, very strongly about this. So I really urge you guys you don't have to take my word for it, but do some research, look into statistics of the effects of dieting on children. There's tons of it. Children who lose weight and go on a diet at an early age are statistically more likely to gain the weight back than not. They will gain the weight back more than likely. Not only that, they are exceptionally more likely statistically to develop disordered eating and body image issues. That's a fact. That is 100% a fact. So if you do feel that you must put yourself or your child on a diet for any reason, be careful about it. Be positive about it. Make it a healthy change in your lifestyle, and don't make it something that is worthy of praise and awesomeness. Don't say, oh, good job, you ate a vegetable, I'm so proud of you, you ate good food. No. Don't do that. Just make it normal. Let it be normal. I mean, eating healthy food should just be a normal part of your lifestyle. It's not something you should be praising. And also, don't condemn someone for eating too much of something. If someone decides to eat 4 cookies, instead of just one, or maybe they eat 6 or 7 or 8. Don't condemn them for it. It's not your business. You know, I mean, gosh, we're hungry. Seriously, I'm a hungry person. And like I said, ultimately, what other people are eating is none of your business. And don't perpetuate this like horrible, damaging diet culture that we were raised in. Don't perpetuate it to your children. It's harmful, it's hurtful. And I know that if I have a child, I will have a really hard time with it because it's everywhere. Even though I am like hyper aware of it, I will have a really hard time distinguishing how to talk to my kid about it. Even though I'm more aware of it. And there are better ways to go about things. There are better ways to talk about it. There are helpful ways to talk about it. And there are very, very hurtful ways to talk about it. But the problem is we don't know any better. My parents didn't know any better. They didn't know that they were hurting me by telling me these things. They thought they were helping. They were like, we're eating healthy. This is great. Like they weren't trying to give me an eating disorder. They weren't trying to make me only value my weight above everything else. That wasn't their intention, and they didn't know that was going to happen. That's why I'm telling you this, because how do you know if not from, studying what's happened in the past? We need to learn from this. A lot of people don't know. They don't know that the way that they're talking about food is harmful. I was talking with a friend the other day, and I was just basically venting to her about how prominent diet culture is in my life and how even though I try so hard to avoid it, it's so loud. And I was talking about how my girlfriends at work are always talking about, oh, I can't eat that. Oh, it's so bad. I can't eat that. Or, ugh, I just hate my body. Like I work in fashion retail, and they're always talking about like, I'm too fat for this. And my body is so awful. I wish I had a different body. And I can't eat a cupcake because it's bad. I can't eat a cookie because it's bad. And oh, I only ate this many calories today. It's everywhere. And I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and she goes, Haley, like that would bug me too. Like you're not crazy. That would bother me too. And she's not, and she's aware of all these things, but not nearly as like hyper aware as I am. And she just goes, yeah, that would make me feel really insecure too. And here's what happens is even as a person who can call it and see it and is aware of it, it still affects me. I go home and I'm like, man, I eat dessert every day. Like, should I stop doing that? Should I stop eating things that I enjoy? Like, and then someone will say, oh, or fruit is awful for you. It's just solid sugar and carbohydrates. And I'll go home and be like, but I really like eating smoothies and I feel really good after I eat them. But like, should I eat something else for breakfast? Like it affects us. We start to feel really bad about the habits we have and the things that we do. So, when people constantly are talking about their diets that they're on, it can be extremely harmful to the people that they're talking about it with. It's super easy to do. And I've been there. There have been times in the past where I was not as aware, like as a teenager. I didn't know how much it affected other people. So I would talk about trying to lose weight. I never talk about numbers. I will not tell you what I weigh unless you are a super close friend of mine and I trust you. And not only that, but like, even then I don't really mention it. I mean, my closest friends, unless I've told them years ago, don't know what I weigh. It's because it's only harmful. I know that my body weight that I'm healthy at is not the same for every woman. There are some women who are much healthier at a much higher weight. There are some women that are healthy at a much lower weight. So for me to say, oh, I'm this tall and weigh this much, and I really want to lose weight, would be extremely harmful to the people around me, because I don't know a single person who has the same body as me. Anyway, I know, like I said, I know that it's no one's intention to cause harm by talking about these things at all. No one intends to, be triggering or be damaging to anyone else when they talk about diet or when they talk about eating healthier or being active and that kind of thing. But when all we do is praise those behaviors, it is extremely damaging. Like, People will feel awful for not working out. They'll feel awful for eating more or less than another person. Like, just really pump the brakes. Critically think about it. Is this just a vanity thing? Is this just a cultural thing? Because it is. Our culture perpetuates diet out of, honestly, almost always vanity. Yes, obesity is a problem. It can cause a lot of health problems. Obviously, a lot of health risks. That I believe this. I know it's true. Extreme obesity does cause a lot of health problems. But we need to take a step back and remember that our overall health is our business. It's only our business. And we should take care of ourselves in the best way we know how, not how society tells us to. And if you are immediately going to start panicking about your weight as a little kid, like if you train little kids to panic about their weight will be a problem for the rest of their lives. Stop talking about it. Stop talking about weight. As you, an adult in your life, don't talk about it. Don't talk about your weight. Don't talk about your diet. I mean, obviously PKU diet is an exception, but I'm talking like weight loss diets. Don't talk about it. Even if you are trying to lose weight actively, don't talk about it. There was a close mentor of mine, actually. She's one of my mentors through my PKU, and she's a dietitian, and she helps me with my medications. So I'll meet with her one-on-one and just discuss like problems with my Kuvan or my formula or my diet or feeling full, just anything basically. And I hadn't seen her in a couple years because she went into just working from home. So I hadn't met with her in person in a long time. And this past fall, there was an event, and she was there. And she came up and sat next to me and said, "Hello, how are you doing?" And I didn't recognize this woman at all. Like, I hadn't seen her in 2 years, and she looked very different. She lost, I think, 50 pounds, and she cut her hair short, and it was a lot blonder. She looked really different. I hadn't seen her in a long time. So I said, "I'm so sorry. I don't recognize you." And then she goes, "It's me." And then I remembered her, and I just felt so bad for having forgotten her, but like I wanted to know who she was. I said, "Who are you? I'm so sorry. I don't recognize you." And then she goes, "Yeah, I lost a lot of weight." And I said, "Oh, well, I hope it was a healthy change for you." And she was just floored that I said that, because she told me later, she said, "I was floored, like, thank you for that," because a lot of people automatically praise weight loss, even if they don't know why. Like, sometimes it's cancer. Sometimes it's a severe eating disorder. Sometimes it's extreme stress or grieving. Like, stop praising people for their bodies. Like, can you imagine? I mean, the last time that I lost any weight, it was because there was a serious loss in my family. Someone passed away. Like, that's not something you should praise people for. Being sick is a really common reason people lose weight. Being depressed, having a severe eating disorder. Like, I've been praised many times for weight loss, and many times it's been when I'm really unhappy. And I've never had cancer, and it's just, think about it. Like, seriously, you could be saying congrats for losing weight to someone who is seriously sick, and that's why they're losing weight. That's why they're super thin. Like, our society praises emaciation. Our society praises people who are extremely thin. Like, if you look at runway models, I mean, anytime I look at runway models, all I think is, do you actually eat? Because very, very, very few people are actually that thin on their, like, without trying super, super hard. Like, I wouldn't eat if I wanted to be a size 00. I literally could not eat. Like, we praise and hold this overly, overly thin body ideal as like, wow, that's awesome. Like, being underweight and like gaunt and extremely thin should not be something we praise. Like, that's not healthy either. Like, if a person, I mean, so many times I will see on Instagram before after photos of someone who was kind of overweight and now is like a size 00 and super thin. And all I will think is, I hope they're okay. Like, honestly, that's all I think is, I hope that they are okay, because that extreme of a weight loss is not always healthy. weight loss in general is not always healthy. So I want us to teach our children that there are more important things about them than their weight. There are more special things about us than our bodies. And we should not be praised for just being a smaller body. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, when I was little, like 3rd grade even, I would just resent the girls who were just super thin and always had been. Like, how come she has it so easy? How come she gets to be so skinny and not even have to try? Like, that was how I felt. And that's not okay. Like, we need to teach our children that their bodies are special and unique, and they don't need to be like anybody else. Like, comparing yourself to other people and trying to achieve something that you are not is the most hurtful thing we can do. So our society has made that normal. Our society has made it normal for us to try to be like others. And it's super hollow. It's super sad when you really think about it, but that's just what's been normal. So I've been on here chatting for a little while, so I think I'm gonna try to wrap it up. I just want you to leave with the idea or the thought of diet culture. I want you to take a step back and really think about the things that you do on a daily basis, the things that you hear on a daily basis, and pump the brakes and think, is this healthy? Is it hurting? Because there are a lot of things we do without thinking about it, because everyone does them. A lot of people do these things and they're considered normal, but is it harmful? Are you hurting yourself or the people around you by saying or doing the things that you do? And I'm not saying that makes you a bad person. It doesn't. It really, really doesn't. But we now have the knowledge and the power to change. We know that it's wrong. We know that it's hurtful. So let's, like I said, take a step, take a moment, and really think about it and really examine the things that we do and say in our daily lives. And really think about it. Like, maybe you're really harming your friends. Maybe you're hurting the feelings of someone next to you. Maybe you're praising someone for weight loss when really they have an eating disorder or they're sick. Like, let's change it. Let's change the way we look at these things. Let's change the way we talk about these things, and let's stop talking about numbers. For God's sake, like, are we not more important than a number on a scale? Don't we know that? Anyway, that's my thoughts for today. Please reflect, leave me comments, like and subscribe if you're liking my content. Like and subscribe if you're liking my content. Leave me comments if you have requests, if you have questions, if you want me to elaborate more on something, if you'd like me to tell you more about my personal experiences with PKU in a certain subject. Let me know. I'm always looking for requests. I want to know what you want me to talk about. I know what I like to talk about, but I want to know what you want me to cover. Anyway, have a wonderful day.